You need to be honest, right? So let me go add some details. Okay? I'm here to talk about why I don't like... One of my common complaints about humanity is it's the common complaint of capitalism. We just all we have a system where we all try to take advantage of each other. And then what ends up happening is that, like, it's the way in which you gather wealth that I feel is wrong. It doesn't help. What it does is it screws people from gaining more wealth in the long run. So I'm going to show you why. So let's look up the Venus Project, right? Because you need different mindsets, right? You can't always have the I'm stabbing each other to the top, right? Like natural selection. It doesn't always work. Sometimes you have to be like Peter Thiel, right? And the problem is in the world of capitalism, competition is for winners, right? In the beginning. It's hard to like switch your mindsets, isn't it? No, it's true. Because that's where the ego is. Like, well, I competed this whole time to get to the top. Now I have to be nice sometimes. Like, it's hard because it's like two opposite mindsets, like being a paradox. That's why I don't like capitalism's current system, because it caps like how the rich think. Because your business operation, like, you can't just switch between the two, because no one's paid to do that, right? Because that requires you to run risks. So that's why you see a lot of so if you're wondering, like, no, I'm serious. So if you're wondering why people like populists rise to power, it's because people like Nancy stab each other. But that doesn't always work. If you're Nancy, it's like, that's not always the right approach. Right? And so how do you learn how to like shift between two mindsets? That's why, Machiavellian is a real thing, right? But the problem is that shouldn't exist in a functioning system. No, it shouldn't. What should exist is a system where we're not blinded by, like, so whatever the rich sell, like, whatever motive, novelty effect that got the consumers to buy something is the very same thing that could damn the rich, right? That draws people to buy shit. So why does this relate to the subscription model? Well, it relates to the subscription model because, oh, by the way, I think a lot of people want to go to school because they don't want to do the homeschooling method. That's cheaper. Yeah, I know, right? So it's cheaper for the employers. No one wants to do that. This is called I don't want to go. So why is college easier? You just get a government Stanford loan. You just go 4 years, and the employer is forced to give you a job. No, I'm serious. Isn't that kind of the system you guys all supported? The forgotten story. Well, what people don't tell you is Tesla could have lived forever and be richer than Edison. Edison promised him that, and Tesla just wanted to kill himself. Oh, there you go. Now I ruined that video for you, didn't I? No, seriously. All prodigies get a path to wealth. You think Edison's a dumbass? No, he's not. He's one of the smartest guys ever. So here's the thing about Edison. No, Tesla did wrong. I'm going to go on a tangent here. What he did wrong is that he surrendered to his ego, right? Sky Adams talks about the ego a lot, right? That's why he killed himself. He's like, I want to be number one. I don't want to get slighted, period. Edison just wanted an exit ramp to switch to what's it called? The alternative energy or whatever it's called. Flowing current. I don't know what it's called. What was the conflict again? I don't remember everything, but I just have these insights. This is fake news, by the way. The problem with Tesla is he needed a political exit ramp to switch to Tesla's mindset, which Tesla never gave. Now, all of a sudden, Tesla is a dick fag, right? I'm serious. Did they have anything? Look, Tesla's like, it's either my way or the highway. He never said, you know what Edison said? Okay, give me an exit ramp to change my mind. Edison's like, fuck that, I'm right. That's basically the whole story. Right? Because when you're running a company, you have to play office politics. No fucking shit, there's a clash. He did that. He hired you on purpose so he can change his mind. He didn't want to play the game anymore. Alternating current, that's what it's called. Yeah. Right? That is what it's called. So he couldn't change his mind, right? His is DC or something. He couldn't do it. You know why it's called DC? Because Nikola Tesla was a dick. Because Tesla couldn't come up with an exit strategy. Like, So one of Edison's deals, like, okay, maybe you can organize a hit job, or maybe you could shank one of my wives, right? Right? My wives was so convinced, like, I don't want to play the fucking advertising game anymore. That was part of his employment deal, right? Nikola, I'm going to tell you, this is proof of the homeschooling system working, right? Tesla just didn't want to play the fucking game anymore. So they saw a genius, right? So Tesla got him from Serbia. Thomas Edison got him from Serbia. I'm going off on a tangent, sorry about that. But I can relate this to the subscription model because this is part of the reality of the entropy universe. Everyone just gets lazier and lazier. So we go to easier systems, right? We don't go to easier systems. We're actually devolving. So why college? Because the factory work. So Rockefeller. Well, anyways, let's. I'm going to like so many fucking places. Good thing this is a vlog. Otherwise, I would have forced myself to focus too much. So part of the problem with a lot of videos, like the commercial shoots, you got to focus, right? You got to focus on advertising your product. I have a flexible approach to advertising. I think it should be a podcast. So what I've always wanted to be, like, if I just want to try and make a living and move out, right? I also am okay with doing commercial shoots of like, hey, why don't we turn this commercial into a conversation? Right? I hate how commercial shoots are like 5 minutes and you just lie on the fucking label. Like, I don't mind lying to people, but like, I want to help you, the customer. Like, I don't fucking mind getting fired because let's be honest, there's the sales numbers. They always look good because people just use a bunch of adjectives, right? I don't mind providing something else. How about I provide you employment security, employer? Because I can't always give you good sales numbers. That's fiction. Because people, like, look, talk to the average consumer. Do you know how much they, like, hesitate on purchasing shit? I want to get rid of that hesitation. Maybe I want to give them a system, right? If I can't help them on this company, maybe I can help them on another company that eventually gets them purchase my shit, right? I want them to give them a pathway. I don't just want to like, oh, hey, look, sales got rejected, right? I want to help them on another purchase someday, even on my spare time, even if I get fired, because I am doing this not to get money per se, but to get job security for like other employers that might be thinking about me, right? Because you can get fired anytime. I'm sorry, you guys. Look, we all start. There was no such thing as computer science. There was no such thing as IT. Everyone was a CEO. Okay, back in the days of the cavemen. When they complain, you can complain, fine, but don't forget the bigger picture. You're taking things for granted. That goes for you, baby boomers. You're taking things for granted. Oh, we lost our manufacturer. Guess what? You know the only job that used to exist? Being a CEO of a small business. You're all taking shit for granted. Even my dad is. I don't even like my dad. I'm just tired of spamming adjectives. Right? This is why I don't like people, because they all bitch about stuff, right? And I'm thinking, well, there's a more positive world. You can return to the past. The economic incentives in the past where the rich get a lot richer and you get richer too. You want to go back there? No one does. You want to know what today's age is? This is a rant video. This is called What Grinds My Gears, a Peter Griffin edition. Let's actually see if I can play that. What grinds my fucking gears? Now, if you're Seth MacFarlane and you see me doing it, you probably reject it. I got number one. What happened? Let's look at what grinds my gears. I love these vids because it explains reality. This is what I've basically been doing. Woo! Okay, he wants to hide, I can tell. Actually, let me talk about this commercial. You are wasting your fucking time with me. I will tell you how you get people to buy your shit. You give an option for people to buy discounted versions of your product, okay? Get a bunch of Amazon e-commerce sellers, eBay sellers, Craigslist sellers to sell discounted versions of your fucking thing, okay? then I'll actually think about buying it. That's how you get people to buy your shit. Not everyone is sponsored by the Fortune 500 company corporation, okay? The Ginyu Force. No one fucking cares, okay? You guys need to stop, okay? You need to stop commercializing here. No one fucking cares. Stop wasting time. Stop giving people... You're hurting sales. You're getting people like me to get pissed the fuck off and not buy your product. That's what you're doing. This is the Fortune 500 companies, even the hot supermodels, right? Woo! Everybody. That's exactly That's basically Fortune 500 company CEOs. I get beaten up by their customers. People are like, no, you don't. No, the CEO does not have it worse. Have you ever seen them complain on Reddit? You haven't yet. You're gonna find a real shit story if they ever complain. Oh, you trust me. You want to know how to get people to shut the fuck up? On Amazon? You get the CEO of Amazon, the first one, Jeff Bezos, to complain. Just like a welfare grat, right? You have no idea how much worse this gets. You should be lucky. Honestly, CEO, whatever complaint you have, the CEO's got it infinitely worse. If it's a famous company. It was never easy. Anyways, yeah, they're all on space. Okay, I'm just being. This is hyperbole. Is that you guys? I'm sorry, I have to play this whole bit. I'm really immature right now. Do you want to know what your end game is? You want to be you start out as the underwriter. You start as Goku. I'll be honest with you. DBZ should have went the route of Hunter x Hunter. I am actually serious about this. So here's how DBZ could have continued. They should have went the multiverse route, right? Should have had the space aliens come, and what ends up happening is Frieza's not exactly a bad guy. Let's make the definition of villain like flexible. No, I'm serious. They should have had like Frieza get out, and Frieza, instead of beating Goku normally, right? He maybe saves Goku from an abusive relationship, right? Why don't we, seriously, this is one of the reasons why I think people just dick around. How do I know, like, they could have went this route? Because HXH was there for a while. People don't think anymore. That's why, ever wonder why fiction sucks? Because people don't use their noggin to do any of this shit. And to even look at this stuff, you have to stare, like I said, into the realm of human darkness. But anyways, which no one wants to do. They call it, oh, take your meds, right? Yeah, if you as an author and they say, I don't want to stare into the realm of human darkness anymore, it's just a waste of time. You have to take cannabis to do that. Otherwise known as the human darkness. So it's like, well, I can't explain what I see. Well, that's because you want to forget about it. I'm just showing you stuff people want to forget about right now. If you're wondering, this is called a corporate cringe video. And this is a Fortune 500 version, CEO version of corporate cringe. They just all come together for a team meetup. You're gonna see is like, I regret my life sometimes. you know, you drink beer to try to forget it. You all try, and this is what the employees do, right? Yep, sounds about right. Why am I pointing this out? Because I've dedicated my life to spreading some of the worst autism out there. This is what happens when you poke me. I can't do anything, but I can always spread autism. All right. Anyways, I'm going off track here. Let's go.
Nobody's come up with a new priest and a rabbi joke in like 30 years, you know? I mean, okay, the priest and a rabbi go into the supermarket, and the priest wants...
I do something different. I can't do Seth MacFarlane comedy, but what I can do is be a 4chan comedy. Connoisseur. I'll be honest. Here's the bullshit about sorry, I keep going off track, but this is the bullshit I have about a lot of the current paradigm. They like to think because a new tech came, therefore you shelve the old tech, right? Like as if they can't integrate together. That's why I feel like we're regressing as a society. Because we're just like, oh, you know, social media's come, right? This is why I fucking hate humanity. Because it's like, social media's come, therefore, all these rich ass fags die out, right? It's like, no, it doesn't mean that. Everything is integrated. Everything is supported by the people. So how do you get TV to come back? No fucking shit. You buy off the YouTubers and you buy some of the key ones out and you get them to go back to television. Give them options. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. American public, get with the frickin' program. No fucking shit. You do an unofficial firing of the YouTubers. That's right. That's right. That's right. And when America... who fucking cares, dude? And the cops come, right? The cops come when the fans are pissed off that the YouTubers got quote fired, right? No, you have to have a flexible definition of what... Because then it makes money for everyone. Now, can TV... Yes, TV can upgrade. Right? It's called VR. Why? We can switch over. Now, I think the news anchors are officially dead because they spend too... what do you call it? They spend too badly. That's why they're pissed off, by the way. That's why they attack these people. They try to censor people. Because their spending habits are shit. Here's what I would ask. So, if you're Jeff Zucker, and if you haven't done it already, ask them how they spend shit. I keep telling you, if you're spending more money on hookers and booze, that's your problem, right? What you should be doing, save your money and say, hey, I'll work without pay. That's what you're supposed to do on the non-disclosure agreement, right? Just make your own YouTube channel, right? Marcus, though, that's the whole reason. We just waste our time. 10 to 15 years, right? Why do I open my mouth now? Because I can't move up anymore. Seriously, that is exactly why. It's because no one wants to confront consumerism, right? Consumerism, censorship is a problem masked as, it's just consumerism masked as censorship, whatever you call it, right? That's really it is. It's just a mass consumerism problem for news anchors. They have a consumption problem. They have a spending issue. They're all wasting your time. You see Tim Poole? Let's look at censorship. Tim Poole's just wasting your time right now. Whoever's covering censorship and actually thinks this is a legitimate issue without looking at a simpler... This is a symptom of a bigger problem. People don't know how to manage their spending. People think Asians are like these... They don't respect Asians, I'll be honest. That's why Tim can't see this, right? What are they? Asians are like these simps, right? In America. That's why he can't see that really, this is just the fact that news anchors don't know how to allocate their budget properly. Right? Therefore, they don't want to... You notice, if you're Jeff Zucker, like, they're not presenting me any dicier sales propositions anymore, right? Right? CEO of MSNBC, do you see them presenting you any... Or Fox, or Suzanne Scott, do you see them presenting any... not that one. They're not a problem. The conservatives know how to save money. That's why they don't give a shit. Notice Tucker or Jane Perot, they're always presenting you risky sales proposition, right? But I'm serious. If you look on the left, ask Maddow how she spends her money. You can spy on her bank account. Look, is it like $0, Phil Griffin? Seriously. It's probably near zero. They actually believe their lies. Right? They believe Asians are simp. Or, I'm sorry I have to point out the Asian culture because no one wants to talk about money. Yeah, this is a money conversation. That's all the censorship issue is. That's all this is. People don't know that because we don't want to discuss about cash. We don't want to talk about our salary. This is a Joshua Fluke problem. That's why I like him so much. Well, you have to figure out how to apply him. Seriously, a lot of people who think this is a censorship issue is just go to therapy, right? Now, if you teach the anchors how to allocate their budget properly, right, Phil Griffin, you send them to preschool. It is time for preschool, right? News anchors should be working without pay, right? If they can't make their sales. Right? They do that before, didn't they? I bet you they're on food stamps and they don't even want to fucking talk about it. See, this is the real problem. So now if you teach them about budget instead of their own channel, right, wouldn't you be okay with allowing certain views that you don't agree with, as long as you make money, right? They need to be doing more research and R&D costs. You don't have anything to be concerned about. What you should be confronting is, how the fuck are you spending your money in your free time? No, you don't know. You don't have an answer. And the moment you realize, oh, I'm a liberal, right? I could spend $500K I make in a week, right? And tank it. I'm a free woman. It's like, fuck that. You do your fucking job right now. You spend your free time advertising. You make fucking trailers for me, right? You set up a Raging Golden Eagle channel right now, Rachel Maddow. Right? Right? You set this up right now for free, motherfucker. You want supplies? I'll give it to you for free, right? Wouldn't that be a better proposition? Right? If I can't make sales, you fire me. They don't do that anymore. I bet you they did in the past to get the job, right? They remind me of my mom who lost her nurse practitioner job because she didn't want to take any risk. Talking about the art. So anyways, yeah, you do this. You do this fucking shit, okay? Stop. You do this fucking shit. You figure out what gets you trending. How much is Rachel paid, right? They're not presenting you anyway. It's a sales proposition problem. It's a copywriting issue. What are they spending on? Ask them. They're broke, right? You saw journalists. They're low intelligence, right? They're making very impulsive decisions, right? This is the real problem, is the fact they spend too much. They're not saving money. So if I was a journalist, you know what I would do? I wouldn't spend on anything. I don't care how much I make, because I don't know because news media is a very volatile business, right? Chris Griffin or Jeff Zucker. Right? So you always have to make sure when to set up a dicier proposition, when you have to set up your own channel, right? Be honest, right? You don't have to pay me, just give me some bunch of free software. I have to work without pay. These people are more desperate. They're working without pay, right? Now you know what the problem is. Your news anchors aren't desperate enough to please you anymore. They don't fucking care about your fucking company. That's the real problem with news journalism. It's not a censorship. It's not the far right. It's the fact none of the people you're hiring give a single fucking shit about your job. They don't fucking care about you. Because they would be like, hey, I'm working without pay. You would see something like that, right? I'm taking a loss, right? They're honest with their bank accounts, right? They're not telling you anything. They're not wearing their heart on their sleeve. That they should be, right? They need to fire people right now. They don't even have to do that. Maybe they can short them. Look, my point is, they are not making any decisions. Is Rachel Maddow crying right now? No, I'm sorry. Tim Poole, you're more desperate. That's all it boils down to. This is not because the tech from YouTube's superior. They can set up a YouTube channel. Why don't you look, maybe it's journalists who have an IQ problem. This is a spending issue. No one wants to tell the truth about that. Do you know how much Asians are? Because the moment you talk about money, you're thinking of the Asian guy, aren't you? It's not Scrooge McDuck, it's the Asian guy, right? Asians are what? They have a small penis or something? I don't know what it is these days. It's like Asian. What did the SJW say? No offense, I'm an SJW, but I gotta roast you guys on this one. Because you guys have allowed the MGTOW people to label them simps, right? So as an SJW, I implore you to change your mind on this topic because you're dumb now, right? You just, what's Asian? And maybe that's a white guy. You have a chance. And if you don't like it, you can always switch back. Because thanks to people like Tim Poole, you can switch your mind, right? Who cares? Like, SJW, you have the opportunity to roast yourself, right? You are a joke. According to the other side. Who cares? Right? Who cares? People are hypocrites all the time. I'm just saying, I implore you to be a hypocrite in the right way. Just think about your ROI, because everyone's lying to everyone right now these days. I don't even see that. I swear to God, I think it might be fiction, but yeah, it does look like it's fiction. Here it is. See, this is called not a good idea. This is called a really bad idea because Asians can make you richer. You just have to not, always act like a pro-diversity person towards them. Look, I'm sorry. Look, there's always trade-offs when we're in relationships, right? So if you give them a little leeway on your pro-non-racist views, they believe some of your stuff, right? It's like a equivalent exchange. It's a cheap price. We're always trading our belief systems when we get into a relationship, right, guys? It doesn't matter, right? Maybe one guy likes farting on the couch and the chick doesn't. You just get used to it as long as the guy does chores for you. Do you fucking care? Who cares? You trade all the time, right? There's things we do that we don't like about each other, and we keep trading. It's just part and parcel of life, right? Maybe you adopt a pet dog or whatever because you don't like men, right? If you're a chick. The dog does poops, right? You still have to clean up dog poo unless you have a maid. Yeah, I don't know. We all trade. We all make, these are things you don't want to talk about, right? Oh, I'll be your piggy bank in exchange. You give me a blowjob every 5 minutes because you're hot, right? It's just, you're a guy, right? You're the hot guy. I'm just saying. Oh, crap. Did I just break that? Yeah, so NPR can... So this is the problem. I just see a lot of news anchors being lazy as fuck. That's really the big issue. Now you understand how simple of a problem this is to solve, right? You're a CEO. You can just be an ass man now. Just say, hey, here's an example of a sales proposition. Don't make any money because you're supposed to, right? It's the CEO's time to grill them. Now you know exactly what to grill them on. Grill them on, hey, look at this guy, right? Look at these people. They're somehow making money in this airspace, right? Why don't you, instead of doing news reporting, set up your own effing YouTube channel and get yourself trending? I'll pay you for your operations, right? This is how you switch viewpoints, right? It's like, so as a news anchor, you tell the truth. You say, here's my business model, right? I am, or probably not. But if you want to make money, sell it yourself. This is how you get. So now the politician might say, "Well, censor it," but you're the censorship wheel. You're the censorship arm. I was like, I just want to investigate explore a new business proposition. I don't necessarily believe it, but my news model, right, functions on making sales. Doesn't matter what my viewpoints are. I need to make sustainable money, right? I can't rely on government buy-offs forever. You can say that privately. Who's gonna fucking expose that? You're Jeff Zucker or Phil Griffin. Fox News hasn't figured it out entirely yet. If they're hearing it, yeah, this is Suzanne Scott. This is what you do. You poke these people. They have money. Or you can figure it out yourself. You can probably get data free of charge. Sunir probably doesn't like you guys. So instead of censoring people, I would ask Sunir, hey, can you give me some sales data free of charge? I know I have to pay usually, but I'm going to be a fucking ass fag. It'd be an UG, right? But it's less of an UG, right? You don't have to say you're CNN necessarily. The money still goes to you with proper paperwork, right? You don't. You want to know why they don't do that? Because they're broke. They just don't want the CEO finding out. You're not supposed to be broke as a journalist. I'm going to tell you a little secret. You're supposed to save a lot of your money, like James Bond. Journalism has always been a James Bond job, right? You always have to have alternative arsenal. A lot of the CEOs forget about that because they take so much risk, they don't have time to focus on other people's personal lives. But if you're a journalist and it's dicey, you need to focus on their personal lives. You need to make sure they have insurance policies. Now, other jobs, you don't have to give a fuck because they're like immediate cash flow jobs. But journalists are like James Bond. You always need to have extra grenades, right? You need to make sure the people you employ, worst case scenario, have grenades, right? They have machine guns, right? Because anyone can take over anyone. Doesn't matter how rich you are in journalism. It's a dog-eat-dog world, so how to survive is you need to create or hire people, right, who can sell for you in this case. In case your business model collapses, right? Just focus on another genre, right? If that makes sense. You don't have anything to be concerned about. You just have to ask them, hey, how much money have you saved? Are you willing to, or you can just say instead of that, are you willing to invest in another alternative methods of, profit operations? Yeah, you're supposed to save money. So how do you restructure, right? Your news media, you always have to restructure. You could get taken down by a younger, hotter journalist, right? This is the same case. The younger, hotter journalists, in this case, the YouTube people, are taking the big journalists down. That's what's going on. They are not giving you anything risky, right? None of them are. None of them are saying, I want to take a loss for 10 years to set up a YouTube channel, right? You want to know what what they want to do?
This is OutSystems, the most complete full-stack application development platform for professional.
This is what they want to do. They want to live their life by the dole, right? This is what they want to do. They want to spend their life by the hour, right? This is not what you want in journalism, okay? You don't want this. This is not the mentality you need to give the journalists, okay? They need to change their spending habits so they can restructure like Tim Poole. Journalism has always been disruptive. You know that. Remember in the past how the journalism model, there was no model. Right? Look at the anime and manga artists. They're living... You should be lucky to even have a salary as a journalist, right? Those manga artists, they're starving. That is your problem. You have an entitlement issue. Right? They're always partying, right? You can't do that. Now, it's not too late. You guys aren't broke. You need to have an honest fucking conversation with these people. Right? You need to say, hey, it's time to be a conservative when it comes to spending. Dude, right? You don't need to make your money off of news anchors. You need to just have a non-disclosure form, say this is an S-class corporation, be obscure and opaque as fuck. Be deceptive, right? Hey, look, this video game trailer for Doom, right, is actually going towards CNN, right? You can be a little deceptive. Why not? You're making like what? Billions of dollars? How much does this cost? 50K? You have so many connections, Christian. You can go, right? Hurry up. Go ream their fucking ass. This is not a competition problem. This is an adaptation problem. They need to fucking adapt and be flexible. That's why I hate the arts. Because they're going to be, no matter how rich you are, right? It's like a CEO job. You have to restructure and go without pay for a couple weeks. None of those news anchors are doing that. They just treat this as an immediate positive cash flow job. Journalism has never been that. We have an entitlement issue. They all do, right? Fox News has less of that, right? Because you look at their ideology, it's about money. They don't focus on that. If I were you, you can deploy them, right? But I would try to focus operations elsewhere. Have like barrier companies, right? Stop dicking around relying on TV. Then if you have more capital, right, you can expand news channels, right? See, TV doesn't have to die. You can wait for it to slowly evolve. It's time to be the turtle, right? It's time to play the Koopa Turtle strategy. Right? Time to play the 4chan strategy. Right? LARP and not say anything, right? It doesn't mean anything. So 4chan done effectively is everyone sending sales propositions to each other, to the customers. See, like, to what extent can you profit off the cancer? It's a testing facility now. That's now you don't have to be threatened by 4chan. Hire other people, right? Give people who are willing to set up these channels if they refuse, right? Just fire them. This is not because censorship's expensive, right? That's not even worth doing. You just get them to adapt, switch viewpoints. So you see a lot of these news anchors with unpopular views. Get them to set up the channel, right? They're willing to tell the truth, champion their views. Get them. You should stop looking at this like, I want to stick with one popular view. There is no consensus in journalism. Journalism is always about evolution. Now, if you're a programmer, fuck, that's fantastic. You don't have to fucking evolve whatsoever. I want to fucking do that, actually. Or an actuary or an accountant. That's the real prize jobs. No, seriously, you don't have to do sales or anything. Can you imagine? I love being reamed by a salesperson. Now, it's weird because a lot of people don't appreciate what they have. That's the one thing I've noticed. I'm always jealous of people with more cheddar. Anyways, so, yeah, I would recommend to have a legitimate conversation. Now they're going to try to punch you. You might have to call the cops, right? Right? What grinds my gears? Right? What grinds my gears? You saw the cops at the end? That's what's going to happen. You have to call the cops. That's okay. You know the great thing about journalism? You can force them to do journalism remote in a jail cell.
The best part about doing things yourself?
Seriously, you don't have anything to be concerned about. Just, seriously, tell them, hey, you need to go without pay. Do you have any money to do that, right? Because normally in the past you did that before, right? The CEOs forgot about that. A lot of them probably went without pay for a while when they first started, right? They're just lazy fucks now. They just want to mask it as a censorship problem. Okay, that's the right term. Seriously, they think it's fixed cash flow. Ask them if they think this is like an accountant job where you just make money not talking to people. That's what they think this is. That is their actual problem. No one wants to talk about it. Do you know how ugly that is? No, you can make more money. Now YouTube gets richer. They don't want to readjust. You ask them. You know what they're going to do? Here's where we're at. This is a story of what happens to the news anchors when the CEOs discover this uncomfortable truth.
You know what really grinds my gears? You, America. Boss. Oh. Well, it appears I've been fired.
You see, okay. Or someone else sent it.
What really grinds my gears? You, America. You, Diane.
If you're not willing to restructure, go fire them, right? So news journalists, so a proper news journalist should always be presenting you different sales propositions of a new business model. Because they did that in the past. I know, something like that. Right? They went without pay, some profit model, right? Because they really wanted that job. They don't fucking care anymore. That is what's causing it. It's not censorship. Just restructure, right? Maybe make music videos. Who fucking cares, right? You're flexible. You just need money. Do you care what size you are? You want to be a shilling sellout? Well, Nancy can always pay you off. And you know what's funny? Now Nancy has more options to pay off. She's forced to. Because while you're on YouTube, you have options like, well, fuck you, Nancy, right? No offense. It makes it harder because Nancy now has to pick which social media influencer to buy off because you're part of that airspace. Gets you insurance. they're going to stage protests and throw rocks. I mean, you're going to have that conversation now at this point. That's way better. It's time to play the asshole Boeing shorting game. All right, you're not willing to set up a daily motion channel. You're not willing to be a social media influencer. Gotta have some problems here. You're paid $1 million a year, right? Or something, maybe $1 billion. Right, Nancy's like, huh. Right, like, well, it's gonna be harder to buy you guys off now. If you diversify, just diversify. And who cares, right? You have so many, you probably have a bunch of anchors you fired off because they have an unpopular view, right? Now you can keep them on. It's like, now if you're willing to run more risk for me, right? Give me more higher profit returns, I'm willing to keep you on board with or without pay. These people look like they're serious. Right? To tell the truth, you're willing to work with them. Yeah. Get them back on, right? Right? Doesn't need to be on the news anchor. You could find some indirect shifty way to deploy them, right? Just be a little shiftier. It's not a censorship. This is just, like I said, this is just a let's have a hard conversation. Because trust me, hiring journalists sucks. Because sometimes journalists want to dick around, right? Everyone in life, if you're a CEO, you have to painfully remember everyone wants to treat this job as an immediate positive cash flow job where you can just get money by sitting in the office. Everyone does. CEO, you can't do that. Programming is like that. Right? You're CEO, you're like Jeff Bezos, or you're Sudhir. You're going to have to say, have they, been so used to getting cheddar, like it's almost as if they sit in the office, they're expected to get paid? You have to have that conversation every 10 to 15 years when your company gets big. It doesn't matter what the job requirements are. You have to have that conversation. That is a useful meeting. Now, the moment you say maternity leave, that's when you're going to say, are you expecting to get money the moment you sit in the office? No, that's fine, right? But you just have to ask. Because you know what problem that presents. Maybe it means do the bare minimum to get by. I can always hire someone unqualified if you want. That's fine. Like some companies, it's fine, right? We have a future set up, right? But we have an expectation of a future. But like, you have to have that conversation. That is where the real team meetings are. Are you expecting it? Because I need you to run more risk for me where you go without pay someday. Now, if they say, fuck you, well, I'm sorry, right? If you're a journalist, you have to have now, if you're a CEO of Microsoft, you can afford not to. Because, because it's programming and you're selling tech stuff, I'm just fucking with you. Of course you do. But as a journalist, you have to have more frequent conversations. It's like probably daily. Yeah, Bill is like maybe once every 3 months, unless he wants to be a dick fag and do it daily. Every CEO should have that conversation. Because they honestly think this is a job where you sit in the office and just make money regardless of whether the product sells or not, right? They all do. It doesn't matter who you hire. Actuarial science people. Look at what the colleges are selling to you, right? Now, the employer has a conversation with the college. I think you're getting a misrepresentation of what I'm trying to sell to you guys in these job fairs, guys. You're giving them a false idea that these jobs, Asian people will tell you that you're expected to make this regardless of whether the customer is happy. Because you're not talking to anyone. No, seriously, college is like, well, you just study math books, right? It's a stressful job, right? It pays well. It's low stress, right? Like, I'm not the smartest guy, right? But I can tell you what I do know about the truth. I can tell you the truth. The truth is I'm willing to work without pay. Because that's life, right? You can't expect to get... This is comfortable cheddar, in a sense, right? That you're not talking to people, and you're expected to get a fixed salary. But the reality of a business is, CEO and VPs, you're not really expected to get paid every day, right? Sure, you make more, but Anyways, one of the best things about being in I fucking hate yeah, I've got a lot of stuff to do. I gotta go to the mall soon. I have a lot of stuff I need to do these days. So anyways, I'm gonna talk more about this. So yeah, you have to be a super dick to the journalists now. I'm really sorry, you guys. I know you guys are friends and all, and you weren't told, and you genuinely liked each other. There's no we started on the wrong foot anymore. And I know you guys are genuine buddies. But right now it's time to have that Asian conversation about money. No one wants to have it. Right? Right? Because Americans are all about generosity and giving. We're not at that point. It's over. It's flat out over. Right? It's time for some flexible salary compensation. Right? It's time for door-to-door sales to get those YouTube subscribers. I'm really sorry, you guys. If you're a journalist, I guess, if you're hearing this and they never had this conversation, I'm really sorry, you guys, because it's over. The dream is dead. Journalism is one of the most unstable jobs ever. Like actuary, right? If you became an actuary, you actually could, it is going to head south. Even for the actuaries? The actuaries, you just sit there, don't talk to people, get paid. Doesn't matter whether your product sells or not. That's what I mean. Journalists, you have to face that reality. Anyways, I hate repeating myself. Right? So under this model, you can actually get Tim Poole to advertise for you. Right? If you were to do that, no. You journalists, this is just going to be a shit show. I wonder if they're going to cover it. There'll be protests. So you can even, and CNN could even establish their own little Breitbart, right, under this model. Now, all of a sudden, you're flexible, right? Because all I have to talk about is your profit model. Hey, just say, hey, we are a news service where we report journalism, but we also need to make money. And here's how you report the sellout thing, in my opinion. You could say, hey, we get sold out, but guess what? YouTubers can get spot off too. There you go, you're free. You're disgustingly honest. He's like, sure. No, that's life, right? Journalism is about reporting the truth, right? But the truth is always subjective, right? So this is how I would frame it. The conservatives have one version of the truth, right? And the liberals have another version of the truth. Now the sellout issue isn't even a problem. And now, no, I respect people who say they want to report the truth despite you can say I don't want to get bought off by anyone, right? So as a journalist, you're reporting the truth, but the truth in a capitalist society, you can never report the full truth in the capitalist society, because the moment you get bought off, you get employed by an employer, you have to filter your news a little bit, right? Because your goal is to make the client happy. There is no such thing as truth, like pure truth telling. It's not real. That's all you have to frame this discussion as. No, seriously, that's all you have to say. So Tim Poole, by that standard, isn't actually telling the truth, right? Right. So what's his audience? Right wing. So he has to frame the title, right? There's no way to make money at telling the pure truth. There is none. All I can tell you is, if you want to find your little aisle of the political cognitive dissonance, right? Right? You go to this channel, go to this journalist if you want to hear this side of the story. Right? That's all we do. No, pure truth telling, because you always have to couch your career, you gotta screw around with the algorithm, right? That's not, the moment you like add flamboyant adjectives, like let's look at Tim Poole. Like Tim Poole on big text power grab, right? What the fuck does that mean? All right, actually that's not him. Never mind. Let's look at this. Look at his titles these days. They're more inflammatory than they used to be. I don't have any proof, but check his videos back when he was covering the illegal migrant rapes. They weren't that great. It wasn't that bad. Right? Democrats panic after PA court rules mail-in unconstitutional, proving Republicans right? It's more inflammatory, so there's no truth there. What this does is it allows people to like alter their mind, right? So they miss out proper key context. Because the truth, in order to tell the truth, you need to make sure the audience's mind is truly geared to take the full context of the information, right? They're critically thinking at the very least. There's no truth when you frame stuff like this. He is being a right-wing sellout by doing this, by the way. I'm going to teach you a little trick how to be a right-wing sellout while reporting a pro-left-wing view. It's how you label the title of these articles. So look at this. So if you're an SJW, take notes. You can literally report the same shit, but get people to click on it who are like left-wing as a right-wing news by just framing the title differently. Look, Brett Scar's retirement signals Democrats defeated in the midterm. Retired. Big, nasty adjectives. Persuasion bomb, right? All you have to say is, it looks bad for the Democrats. It appears to look bad. You have one perspective looking bad. That's all you have to do. That it looks bad somehow, right? Or it paints the left as evil, right? And you know what you do? You just report like it doesn't paint anyone as evil. That's the trick. Yeah, just click on the click is truth. The key is to click on the news sources. You play the game. That doesn't mean it's not true or not true. I'm just saying, you just have to skew people's perspective. All you have to do is misread the article. Get them to their mind geared so well, because cognitive dissonance exists. People just miss context on purpose, right? It's the title that allows people. It shifts people's mind to misread the title, right? You want to get your journalists, if you're Jeff Zucker, you want to get them to play these kind of dangerous games. Right? You don't have to be officially for CNN. You just get the money to funnel towards him, right? We can do some shifty shadow pay, right? You can have some affiliates at CNN that are actually for CNN. Who cares? So the Democratic Party is dying, right? This is an inflammatory article because they omit context, possibly. So I'm just telling you, we can all play this dumbass game. So I'll show you I'll show you a neutral article. I'll show you a little trick because you guys don't understand what you're doing half the time. A lot of people don't, by the way. That's the problem. So that's why you get these problems. If you can't explain what you're doing simply, right? How can you innovate further? Because innovation requires you to see repeating patterns. If you can't explain what you're doing, that's not a pattern you can observe, right? People used to play these games back then. By the way, Scott Adams, if you simply stay in Periscope, you're not going to be able to keep a functioning business. You need to, in my opinion, you need to diversify your social media portfolio. Or you got to go to Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, or at least have at least 2 social media channels set up. Yeah, that's life. That's in the corporate world. Now, Scott, I think he can retire. Or run a business. He doesn't have to fucking care about this game. If you're a news journalist, you have to play this fucking game all the time. And I'm sorry, Anderson. It's time. You have a more comfortable spot. You're taking your salary for granted. Yeah, it's time to put yourself on 5 social media plugins and set up a lot of bot accounts or shadow accounts with pen names, right? They used to do that back then. Now, the journalists are lazier these days. You give this example, would you want to go back to the days of the old? Now, all of a sudden, I'm thinking, I don't really like journalism these days. Journalists are way lazier these days. So here's how I would reframe this. The far right has taken over Amazon by adding in more IT jobs, right? You now notice if you read this, right? Nothing about it says in that, but if you're for that view, right? You read it, you just try to take everything out of context so it fits the title, right? That's what the human mind does when it's cognitively biased to think towards a certain direction. That's what you do. That's the game you do, if that makes it more plain. that is what you do. Now what you do in the video and have, you can have the video say one thing and the news article or this thing not say anything. The sources are down below, right? That's what you do. Those are the games you play, if that makes sense. I'm sorry, you don't have any ego as a journalist. Just give up. Just give up on being a pro-left. You don't have to be. Yeah, in fact, journalism is a very friendly game. If you're desperate enough, you can actually be friends with Fox News, actually, with this setup. Just learn from Tucker, Rachel. Wanna make your own YouTube channel? Don't huck the tuck, right? Was it Donald Comrade Stump or whatever the hell is? Right? You're flexible in journalism, right? What the fuck's this guy's name? Here it is. Right? If they'll say, hey, if you can't make money doing journalism, why don't you do comedy skits telling the truth, right? Because it's Colbert Report, or was it Daily Show allowed for the phenomenon where comedians can be truth tellers or journalists, right? Like, people actually thought they're journalists, so you can do this now. Jon Stewart morally justified forcing them to do comedians, so you can exploit them more, right? Or you can force journalists to do more. Thanks, Jon Stewart. Now this is journalism. This is journalism now. You can get Anderson Cooper to do this now. Free of charge, possibly. And whatever, now it's implied you have to obviously fork some of your money over, right? Instead of infrastructure, of course. Because how else do you split profits, right? No, you do. Of course you do.
Take on Donald Trump. He's also the editor of the Weekly Standard. Good morning, Bill.
Now you can get Anderson and Rachel Maddow to do these kind of skits.
It's going fine. I mean, the mechanical, logistical, legal obstacles are matters.
Just go do that. Try conservative channels, right? Just be anonymous. Maybe try left-wing, do left-wing versions of this. See what sells, right?
No one has stepped forward yet. Yes, no one has stepped forward yet. I'd like to have someone do something.
Let's have a conversation. Journalism's always about that conversation. You never hear, like, that's a scary word. Let's have a conversation, right? That's a fucking scary word, conversation. Because all of a sudden, there's no money. That is the problem with journalism. Now, accounting, the conversation means cash. You don't need the conversation. Filter it out. That's what I like about accounting. Just make money sitting in the office. Right? You get the journalist, say, hey, do this. Right? Now, if you're a journalist, like, I don't fucking want to do that. That's too much work, right? But we're desperate, right? You know, CEOs are mean. They may just bring a gun over.
I didn't leak the tape. And there were 2 people.
It's sad.
Yeah, and I lost the tape.
They say, hey, I find this kind of funny.
Yes,
Can you make money for me doing this?
back 25 years ago.
Could somebody have stolen it?
No. I was in
Right? I think Nancy does this in private. Can you teach? Can you become Nancy? Morph into Nancy?
Wait a minute. So you're suggesting Trump leaked this to the Washington Post?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he walks like a penguin onto the stage. You ever see?
Right? Maybe you could come up with a cool username, right? No, seriously, it's very desperate. That's why I want to, because it's very hard to set up your own business and you get your own operations, right? Right? So maybe you can, and if you set up a YouTube channel, like I said, you basically have the opportunity to set up your own business to help Jeff Zucker later in life, right? Journalism is that flexible. No, you don't have to do a seppuku with censorship. You don't have to fucking do any of that shit. Right? Just if you can't win, they can't beat it, join the crowd, right? That's what it literally means. Journalism, it's always about that. Right? Manga artists, right? You should look at manga artists. That's sort of a media form of art, right? Journalism is an art, right? Manga artists go without pay, right? You are expected to go without pay, Anderson Cooper. Right? There's a workplace abuse, right? You're expected to go through that yourself, right? expect pay to be low as a journalist. I know what they complain about, like equal treatment, right? And you don't have to be that bad, but expect it to be that bad when business is bad, right? Yeah, I'm sorry. The truth sucks, guys. Yeah, you don't have to change anything about yourself. You don't have to apologize. Just it's time to be a little flexible. They don't. They all want to cash out. For a lot of the schools, they also want to do that too, right? All the college professors are on tenure and shit. They just make their living sitting in the office, right? They want a job like that. Now, people don't care, right? Because they're like, oh, well, it's not my issue, right? But the thing is, they all see how the professors live, right? See people like that. It's like, why can't I co-spy by that? Thing is, that doesn't help the CEO because the CEO can never co-spy like that. That's what they think. I bet you, like, Kanye West may not even make money on some days. I don't think it always sells. I just get the impression it doesn't always sell. People will, now if you're an employee, you're not going to take that nicely. You know what I'm going to do? You know what they're going to do? I want to hide. Because the workforce you got is way more immature than the past. So if you're an old guy, you know what the past is like. They don't bitch about this shit. They would have helped by now. If you had the bold one, right? It's like me who talks about this. They would have moved if they had money. Yeah. Your problem is you just have a work ethic issue. A legitimate one. Now I told you how. So this is a common generation complaint that people back then wouldn't make. Yeah, as a journalist, you should expect to do warehouse work without pay. They used to do that back then, right? In worse conditions. In return, they get a scoop from the company, right? If you're Jeff Zucker, are your journalists doing anything like that today? They just came to grill and chill once they got their cash, right? You can't always do that, right? Right? No, it's not. Look, people need to stop. You need to stop pretending like this is a fixed income job, right? This is the problem with work ethic. See, if you want to know why Amazon's work's drying up right now and we're processing returns, because people don't want to do jack shit. So the moment other people don't do jack shit is when work freezes, right? And we're processing returns. It's just a protest. The news anchor should cover it. It's not corporate's fault. It's the workers' fault. They have a work ethic problem that stems from the bottom to the top, like the news anchors. That is the real problem. Look, you complain, fine, but don't act like that in real life. They are acting like that in real life, by the way. I just had like one chick tell me, I think, when I came back from work. And it's because I was like the fastest worker or whatever the fuck it was. And I was like, dude, leave me the fuck alone. I'm not here to fuck you, okay? I'm here to get my pay and leave. The quiet ones are always the fastest ones, by the way. I've noticed, as long as you learn. Now, a lot of people, I don't know, I think they have ADHD. I don't have friends. Take me with a grain of salt. Maybe I'm the schizophrenic one, right? With ADHD issues. Yeah, you guys have a lot of asshole people now working. I don't know what happened a couple years ago, but their productivity's really slumped. They still complain about this, right? But it wasn't that bad, you know what I mean? It was productive enough that we were able to talk about our rates. It's okay to complain about this shit. I don't care. Like, you're a CEO. Do you give a fuck? People go get a fixed income job so they can bitch about their life and then sit in the office and get paid. That's all people come here. CEOs in the past understood that. They felt sort of bad. Now I don't know anymore. They just don't say anything. Now you do have to say something. Hey, buddy, this is not a fixed income job, right? Where you sit in the office and get paid. Or any of those jobs, right? They think it is. That's why the schools are like really happy when the rich comes. Like, oh, we can offer fixed income jobs now, right? They went off that assumption. As a rich guy, it's uncomfortable to have those conversations. To say, no, it's not. None of this salary stuff is like fixed. That's why you see a lot of lies for job requirements, because the whole salary compensation thing is a lie too. Right, we're at the point where the conversation needs to be had. Right? It's time to tell the truth about this. It's uncomfortable as fuck. Can you imagine telling a bunch of college graduates, hey, you're an accountant, but you may make $0 for the year. The company gets shorted. I can refer you elsewhere, or a psychologist. Can you imagine being Warren Buffett saying that directly to a bunch of college grads? Or even having an intermediary do that. Do you know how terrifying that is? I would, but you know. Right? Well, Jeff Zucker needs to have that conversation right now. Yeah, they tried harder. Now you know exactly what they need to try harder on. Now they can't complain. You need the news anchors to morph like a chameleon. You need to be here's what people don't want. I'll just play a different video and then I'm gonna cap this off. So this is the future of commercialism. This should be something on your mind. You should float ideas like this, right? This should be in the corporate board meetings. Right? Whatever you're seeing right now is not what you're seeing. Anyways, I'm going to keep posting videos because someone needs to tell the truth that the modern workforce sucks balls, donkey balls. Right? The CEOs have like an infinitely tougher work ethic than what you have right now. Right? Because you guys used to do like Royal Rumbles, like actual Royal Rumbles, where it's like you bounce between 15 jobs. Royal Rumble, here I come. Royal Stumble, right? Because you guys aren't really fucking working, right? Like a lot of the workers. So what Amazon's problem is they are now hiring workers from the lazier generation. And that's a parenting issue. Now you're at a point where we need to have a conversation about parenting, unfortunately. Because everyone kicked the can down the road. You don't need to have one. At Fortune 500, you don't need to have one. You probably will. Because you're too pissed off. So if you don't want to have kids, you know that mentality. That's how, it's all like an infinite pain. But here's the other thing. You don't need to have a spat. You could just get the U.S. government to get them to procreate, right? Yeah, you are a kinder care facility. I'm sorry, Joe Biden. No, if they really need to. Not necessary. So here's the thing. Japan's small, so they can't really enforce fucking, but U.S. government big. That's a different story. Got a high military-industrial complex. That's a good insurance policy, by the way. If you ever need to. Or you pay the U.S. military to back off, right? But whatever, right? Yeah, people get too lazy. That's kind of the problem. They forget how to enforce their system. Well, now I'm telling the rich how to do it. They have all the cards now. Because the poor don't really move at all these days. You saw the baby boomers, they're all like, well, you youngsters are too lazy, right? But they never criticize themselves. Since they're lower on the totem pole, they need to lead by example. That's their fault, ultimately. True, but you never properly praise the people that actually got the ball rolling. Yeah, I forgot what I was actually doing. Let me see if I can go back. I'm going to end this by saying, I'm going to upload this again on YouTube. So anyways, this is, all right. So the problem I have with the subscription model, sorry, I went into too many tangents right now. So the real problem we have with subscription models is Microsoft's problem is, I think you can do both. And their problem is that a lot of people don't want to pay upfront the price of the product, so they all keep pirating it. So I'm going to show you. Microsoft is an example of a company in decline. This stock price, I don't expect it to go down. Right? Because people are too lazy to search it, but at the same time, you can't make any gains. So you have Microsoft. So what ends up happening is, like, you see products like Microsoft. I don't know if anyone's talking about this right now in the corporate database meetings, right? I don't fucking know. So their problem is they're selling on subscription base because no one wants to buy the full product. Everyone's pirating, right? So what I would do if I was, and so they say, well, we need to switch to a subscription model, right? We're making more money this way and no one wants to pay the full price, right? But the thing is, you're cutting out people who might just want to pay the full product price someday. You should always have an option, an alternative, right? And it's like, well, that's too much work. But you don't want to run that anymore because people might just opt out and buy the cheaper version. But I think what ends up happening is a lot. So you don't see, I think there's going to be a significant profit decline if you don't offer both. If you offer both, like a discount or the full price, at least the people who are serious can buy it, right? Now, I save the money in the long run, but you're still making money. So the problem is if you keep doing subscription-based models, what ends up happening for like a lot of these small businesses that want to rise, or anyone who wants to purchase these products, they know, the smarter ones know that purchasing the full price is cheaper in the long run. So now no one can buy it, right? So I'll show you what makes sales for subscription models for you guys. Having a pirate vendor sell a pirated version of Microsoft, having Microsoft sanction it. And it's ran by Microsoft. Just have a discounted older version. Because now everyone will click on it and you make more money that way. Because those people, they weren't going to subscribe to it anyways. So if you click on pirated versions of those things, people will buy your shit. Because I'm telling you right now, no one's going to buy it, right? This is an unpopular view because they're like, well, I don't want to take the risk, possibly, right? No one is going to go invest in Wix. Why the fuck would they? Have you ever heard a story of people investing in Wix because they saw a YouTube ad on it? They're losing sales. Right? Now, if they sell a pirated version of Wix, right? So they want to subscribe to the newer version, right? They can. Someday. Now, the trick is not to sell the newer version until later on. Because people have to develop. You can't expect everyone to be deployed by a major corporation. Because a major corporation would do the subscription model because money is not the problem. Because subscription makes more money. You are paying more in the long run, but money is not the problem once you're a big company. Yeah, but you do have to start with the shorter version when you're small, right? You're advertising to small businesses. You don't understand your audience. I don't know whether the data analysts are studying this shit or not. Because the only people who buy Wix up front are the big businesses, right? The small businesses, right? I'm sorry. Now, can Microsoft make any money elsewhere? Now, I personally think Microsoft can, but you will need to deploy artists who think like me. Which we don't, right? Microsoft's big on tech, right? They're not big on the journalism form of compensation. Right? You need to do some sales, do some door-to-door, right? Right? They need to do more stuff that Bill Gates is in, right? He's investing in nuclear power, he's investing in a bunch of stuff. He's not doing that right now, by the way. So at least when the public sees you moving and shaking, at least you can earn money. Now, you don't need to dominate, but you can definitely go higher than this. I don't know. Well, yeah, that's my bitching thing. So the public ruined it because they don't want to pay the full price of anything. That's why I went to subscription. And the problem is they never had an honest conversation, right? None of the people who buy the product said, hey, maybe it's too pricey. Can you lower it a bit? I would have done videos on that every day. Hey, maybe you can sell a discounted version, Microsoft. I don't mind paying the extra premium. You don't see the public doing that. They just don't say anything, just pirate your shit. That's a much preferable conversation. Is say, hey, maybe you can give us a discounted version, a bootleg, right? Offer. Now, he might say no thanks, but you keep doing it. That's more money, right? Because like, we're not going to buy it anyways. They could have kept sending poll surveys saying, we're not going to buy this shit anyways. Bill would have gotten the message like, okay, we need to be a little more flexible. I don't like it. Right? Having an older version. Right? Have the people, honest public, right? I don't mind paying. I don't need to pirate this, but hey, you need to offer me something because I don't see enough of these programs from 2005 enough on Craigslist. I don't see enough of those things, right? Right? And sometimes the price is too expensive. Hey, there's a little shout out. I pirated this, too expensive for my budget, right? I have $20K in the bank, right? A lot of us don't have that much money. Once you're honest, everyone else starts being honest about this shit. You be honest. You can't always overprice shit, right? And get people to buy stuff. You have to have a really flexible price model that's more precise. Right? It is the public's fault because they don't want to say anything because they just want to pirate stuff forever because it helps them more. So what ends up happening is you screw the pricing of the products later down the line because Bill has an inflated sense of, a false sense of how much his products are worth, right? But the more sales pitches you give, the more Bill's like, okay, I can't really sell it for that much. So I need a slower update. So instead of like selling a whole reshelf, you could say I'm going to sell game patches instead, right? Right? It's like, well, I can't, you may not want the newest product because you notice some of these Microsoft products don't make as much money. So they say, well, I'm going to offer you some patches for some other industry, right? Right? You can expand elsewhere. You don't want to say anything because it benefits you. In the long run, it doesn't benefit you. Because eventually they shelve everything entirely. So if I had to start over, I would have said, now the schools, that's a different story. They're paying. No, it's just long run, like they shelve everything entirely. So now, short run, sure, it costs more. But you know something? At least Bill is offering you a service, like you want your services to go to game patches, you'll be honest, right? At least he's offering you a service that is more geared towards what you want, and now you have a legitimate competition against YouTube, right? Because you say, Bill, I just want the same software. Right? If you send enough letters to him, he'll get the picture. I want the exact same software, but I want something else. Like, you want to make money, right? Now, honestly, this should be the marketing team jobs for Microsoft to do that. But I'm just telling you how the public kind of fucked up on this one. And the public includes the Microsoft marketing team. Because they're pirating off of Bill Gates too, which is the joke. Anyways, I'm done. I will talk about this later.